InfoWars, October 15th, 2010. Article: Deliberately Engineered Economic Collapse in USA Leading to Martial Law. October 15th, 2010. With the U.S. preparing to seize private and public pensions in order to bankrupt the American people and bring them down into poverty as part of the full spectrum dominance plans, the risk of American society collapsing into anarchy and rioting is extremely high over the next couple of months. Plans have already been in place over the past 26 years with Rex 84 to bring the USA under martial law with such eventuality. The military have been trained extensively over this time period specifically to take American people with the national level program of Army exercises. National Level Exercises 2010 NLE 10 have been exercised in Chicago, Illinois, entitled Operation Vigilant Guard, where foreign troops were trained with the U.S. Army to prepare to take out patriots and confiscate legally held guns from the American people. In a Prison Planet TV special video with Rob Dew and Jason Douglas, Operation Vigilant Guard is well documented. The National Guard told the media that the foreign soldiers would be observers, but as the Prison Planet TV exclusive video reveals, Polish soldiers participated in the activities, including a raid on what appeared to be a meth lab, but is described as a weapons of mass destruction facility. Operation Vigilant Guard reveals an ongoing effort to not only destroy Posse Comitatus, once upon a time designed to prevent the military from working with state and local law enforcement, but the globalist efforts to incorporate foreign partners into any future effort to impose martial law and gun confiscation in response not only to hurricanes but also contrived terrorist events. This is the final phase in the DDCN doctrine of demoralization, destabilization, crisis, and normalization, ready for the Bancor to be brought in as one world currency with the totalitarian one world government regime. In order for this hostile takeover to be successful, they have first to destabilize any potential resistance before the crisis phase is fully enacted. This is why the Southern Poverty Law Center, under the auspice of the Department of Homeland Security, are doing everything in their power to demonize patriots and constitutionalists, the Tea Parties, veterans, gun owners, and libertarians. These people will be the first into the breach to resist tyranny. Meanwhile, the MIAC report and the Department of Justice are also trying to character assassinate large swaths of American society, as well as the feds targeting disgruntled veterans. In the crisis phase, as the crisis phase swings into full economic meltdown, the U.S. military will take over more and more of the infrastructure as cities can no longer afford to employ staff. The ability to do this has already been listed in several presidential executive orders, which include Executive Order 10990, which allows the government to take over all modes of transportation and control highways and seaports. Executive Order 10995, that allows the government to seize and control the communications media. Executive Order 10997 allows the government to take over all electrical power, gas, petroleum, fuel, and minerals. Executive Order 10998 allows the government to seize all means of transportation, including personal cars, trucks, or vehicles of any kind, and total control over highways, seaports, and waterways. Executive Order 10999 allows the government to take over all food resources and farms. Executive Order 11,000 allows the government to mobilize civilians into work brigades under the government supervision. Executive Order 11,001 allows the government to take over all health, education, and welfare functions. Executive Order 11,002 designates the Postmaster General to operate a national registration of all persons. Executive Order 11,003 allows the government to take over all airports, aircraft, and including commercial aircraft. Executive Order 11,004 allows the Housing and Finance Authority to relocate communities, build new housing with public funds, and designate the areas to be abandoned and establish new locations for population, i.e., FEMA camps. Executive Order 11,005 allows the government to take over railroads, inland waterways, and public storage facilities. Executive Order 11,051 specifies the responsibility of the Office of Emergency Planning and gives authorization to put all executive orders into effect in times of increased international tension and economic or financial crisis. Executive Order 11,921 allows the Federal Emergency Preparedness Agency to develop plans to establish control over mechanisms of production and distribution of energy sources, wages, salaries, credits, and the flow of money in the United States financial institutions in any undefined national emergency. It also provides that when the state of emergency is declared by the President, Congress cannot review the action for 6 months. The Federal Emergency Management Agency has broad powers in every aspect of the nation. General Frank Salcido, chief of FEMA Civil Security Division, stated in a 1983 conference that he saw FEMA's role as the new frontier in protection of individual and government leaders from assassination, and the civil and military installations from sabotage and or attack, as well as prevention of groups from gaining access to the United States option or a global audience in times of crisis. FEMA powers were consolidated by President Carter to incorporate. I'm not going to go on with that one. Executive Order 11,310 grants authority to the Department of Justice to enforce the plans set out in executive orders to institute industrial support, to establish judicial and legislative liaisons, to control all aliens, to operate penal and corrective institutions, and advise and assist the President. Executive Order 11,049 assigns emergency preparation function to federal department agencies, consolidating 21 operative executive orders issued over the last 15-year period. Executive Order 12,148 created the Federal Emergency Management Agency to interface with the Department of Defense, Civil Defense Planning and Funding as an emergency czar as appointed, and FEMA has only spent about 6% of its budget on national emergencies. The bulk of their funding has been used for the construction of secret underground facilities to ensure continuity of government in case of major emergency, foreign or domestic. I've actually delivered to these places. I've helped them build them. Oh, we drove trucks underground in Kansas City, Missouri, and in Kansas as well. So, different places in Missouri where they have these places. I've delivered them, so I know they exist. Um, anyway, there's all these others, but as more and more patriots become leaders in their communities, some will become targets for assassination through either predator drone strikes or kill capture teams, especially those who are fully aware of all that is going especially of those who are fully aware of all that is going on geopolitically and are standing up against it. Do not be deceived. This is not for Islamic militants hiding in caves. It is for the American people. With state nullification and state secession being openly discussed by many people who are either standing for office this November or are supporting independent candidates, many of us are watching wearily for signs of an October surprise in the form of either another illegal war of trade or a false flag terror event, in or even the fall of the republic before November elections even take place with the declaration of martial law. As the alternative intelligence community chat gets louder concerning immediate martial law, and sources are noting the mobilization of the 82nd Airborne Division, marshals are being called for interstate training exercises under suspicion, circumstances, and various other signs that suggest the imminent declaration of martial law. We have decided to put the martial law risk to severe. By exposing these martial law plans, we patriots hope their to stay their hand long enough for danger to pass. Things brought out into the light can be dealt with, while things hidden cannot be dealt with. Meanwhile, it is incumbent upon all Americans to vote in constitutional candidates no matter what their political affiliations are. There are many independent constitutional candidates standing for office against those who currently are in office who are trying to bring in a new world order. Candidates who, once in office, will hold the feet of Congress and the president to the flame of these issues.